So said. All right, so we live. All right, good afternoon, beautiful people. This is your host, Matthew from the Day and Night Podcast. Hey, y'all, we're at episode number 98. We're getting closer to 100. It may not seem like a lot to some, but it means a lot to me. I don't know how Mark feel about it, but
Oh yeah,
just
definitely.
just to see that we've been doing this for almost 100 episodes, I think it speaks volumes. Um, it's a milestone for sure. And hopefully Mark still enjoys it and we can keep doing this. And we're approaching 2 years. So we've been doing it for a year. It's a way for us to connect, for us to chop it up as far as about things that we think about, things that we have opinions about, and just to bring a different perspective. So I'm going to kick it to Mark, San Antonio, our co-host.
Hey, hey everybody, what's up? Welcome and thanks for joining. And it's a beautiful Saturday. I'm just happy to be off and relax and decompress. But wow, that's crazy. What you said, 97 episodes? So
98.
that's definitely a milestone. 98?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that says a lot. That's consistency. So that's the good thing about it. And I love doing them. So, just to to comment on what Matt's saying, that I love doing them, but he brings up perfect topics. So I think it's a good way to reach out to people and again open everybody's mind and makes people think and look at things in a different perspective. Because I think sometimes we tend to just go every day in life and not even really think about things because it's not brought to our attention. So I think this is a great platform and I love doing it. So I'm looking for episode 100 because that's a lot. I didn't realize it was going on 2 years already. So that
Yep.
tells you right there that time flies. So on that
Mm-hmm.
note, everybody appreciate y'all for joining in. You know who you are. Thank you, and again, comment, share, like, all that good stuff. All right. So I'm looking forward to this one. So this is a good one, guys. So controversial. And this one definitely I need, like all of them, we need feedback. But this one, maybe some people might be engaged to chime in on it. So on that note, man, I'm gonna let you kick it off because I know you go and do your spill. Oh, you've been thinking. So what was you thinking?
Yep. I've been thinking. But so this one, I'm pretty sure everybody heard about it. It just happened last week, and Mark actually brought it to my attention because we was just finished the
Oh yeah.
podcast. No, we was actually doing the podcast, and I noticed his attention was somewhere else. And then he told me what happened with Tyreek Hill, the football player,
Yeah.
and how he got arrested for speeding to the stadium, and he got roughed up a little bit. So today's topic is we're going to talk about that, and we're just going to talk a little bit about celebrities in general, athletes in general, and how they are treated. So the topic is: do athletes or should athletes and celebrities receive preferential treatment? So the reason why I'm saying this and this topic came up, I was watching this sports show. It was called The Faculty. I think Ocho Cinco is on it. Um, LaShawn McCoy.
Shady.
And
Yeah.
I forget the other dude.
James Jones from
Yeah,
ex
James
Packers.
Jones.
Yeah.
So anyway, they was talking about what happened, and it's something that Acho said that caught my attention, and he kind of prefaced it with, "Well, I know everybody is the same, but he said, what happens or where are we at as a society if Tyreek Hill, a well-known athlete, get treated like this?" And that kind of stuck out to me because I'm like, why should it matter if he's an athlete or if he's just Joe Schmo, if he's a bus driver? So how I took it, I could be wrong, but I took it as he was basically saying because this dude makes over $1 million a year. He's a high profile person and everyone knows him. He should receive better treatment than the average person. He didn't directly say that, but to me reading in between the lines, that's basically what he said. When he was like, so what, how do we treat this situation? How do we approach it as society if this athlete is being treated like this, so what and how will we be treated if the same situation was just an average, I won't say average person, but someone that don't have that high profile? So that's basically what we're going to talk about. Should athletes and entertainers or celebrities, should they have preferential treatment because of who they are? I personally don't believe they should. And it really kills me when I hear people that say stuff like that. And it's like we are separating them from us, and they are no different. They are no different from somebody that's going to freaking uh, to a job. If they're a doctor, if they're an attorney, if they're a warehouse worker, if they customer service, it shouldn't matter. We're still people, and we all need each other to exist in this world. So it's just crazy to me that athletes and entertainers get looked at as these high class people, like if they're 100% different. They're just someone that was gifted with talent, and they were able to perform their talent at a high level. That's the same thing as an attorney is talented and they operate the highest level. Same thing as a doctor or customer service rep or a waiter or a bus driver, a mechanic. That still takes skill to do those things. And again, the only reason why these people are popular is because we make them that popular. Mm-hmm. They ain't doing it themselves. In order to be popular, we have to do that. So that's what my whole thing is. They're no separate from us, and they should not receive any special treatment. Just because I was Tyreek Hill, I don't think they should have like, oh, it's Tyreek Hill, so we can't disrespect him. We got to treat him with this special service, and we got to cater to him because he's a millionaire and he's a football player. No. Now I'm just going to say this, and Mark, I want to get your perspective on it. I don't know if you saw the video, and to me, he was operating with that mindset. Well, I'm Tyreek Hill. I don't need to respect anybody. When the dude walked up to the car, he tapped on the glass. I get it. That's kind of disrespectful. But why you still got the window rolled up when he's walking to you? You already know that the officer is approaching to you. Roll the damn window down. Why add fuel to the fire? As a black male, they looking for something. They looking for the least little thing to get at you. So why did he felt as though he can leave the window up? He's tapping on the glass because you got the window up. And then he's like, he cracked it. He's like, what do you want, man? He said, well, I'm giving you a speeding ticket, but just hurry up. And he rolled the window back up. So I'm going to get my spill after this, but Mark, I want to, hear your perspective on, everything what I just said.
Yeah, well, you stole my take because that's what I was going to speak on. But to go to the first question, hell no, they don't deserve to be treated differently. And you put it perfectly. Like you a human being, you bleed just like we bleed. Yeah, you have a high profile, you in the limelight. That doesn't exempt you and exonerate you to say, hey, you're supposed to be catered to if you do something that's against the law. You're still a citizen, so you still got to abide by it, just like you said, a mechanic, a doctor, a lawyer, or a person that works at the grocery store. You should not have some different level of treatment because of that. So that's how I feel. So I don't agree with that at all. So I feel like Ocho, when he said that, he's in that category. So I think he's thinking more or less that way because his mindset is, hey, I actually play football. You can't treat us like this. So he's kind of, in my opinion, looking out for his colleagues. So I think he was speaking more on that because he still had that football athlete mentality. But and the next thing I'm gonna speak on is what you just said. And this is where I'm at. And I watched a lot of these talk shows the past week, mainly the sports ones. Everybody killing Stephen A. and say he ain't down for black people and he's always against us. I think he speaks so much of the truth. People don't like him because of that. They say he's Uncle Tom now, but I ain't gonna go into all that. But he made the comment somewhat you just said. And I would say the same thing because I seen the first footage where they just had him on the ground And
Yeah.
the cop was aggressive. I will say that.
Hmm.
He accelerated it and went a little bit too quick. Now, my personal opinion from watching it, this is my take on it. I think he did know who Tyreek was. And now people will say, "Oh, you overreacted, or you making it
Hmm.
more than it is." But I'm just devil's advocate throwing a scenario out here. I'm just gonna play a script as if I was the officer. And this may sound silly, but he could have been knowing it was Tyreek once he saw him. He could be a football fan for another team, pissed off at Tyreek. Maybe he don't like Tyreek just because of how he is, or he's mad because they lost in the playoffs and his behind didn't play good when they went to Kansas City. So now he developed some kind of animosity. So he gets the opportunity now to be an asshole because, oh, that's Tyreek. And then Tyreek did not help it. I think he caused and made it cause and effect. But like you said, he did tap on the window. But I've been stopped. I was stopped about a year ago. And the first thing I did, rolled the window down, took my license out, told who I was dating at the time, like, hey, grab my insurance and all
Hmm.
that. I had all that shit right there. Boom. Hands on the steering wheel. We should teach our black sons because if you come at them like that, you said it perfectly. They are waiting and hoping. I ain't gonna say they're hoping, but they perceive us as volatile, disrespectful, asshole. So the way he handled it is typically what they expected, and he
Hmm.
made it easy for the cop to be an asshole. And it may sound silly, but you be like, yes, officer, how you doing? Oh, I'm so sorry, man. I'm trying to get to the game. I don't want to be late. I got to be at practice. In so many ways he could have went with that. But nah, man, like you said, hurry up. Just give me the ticket. That's where he started it. Now, when the cop got pissed off and pulled his ass out of the car, yeah, I think that was a little too much. He didn't have to do that, but that's why I'm going with maybe he had some kind of personal vendetta.
Yeah.
And because Tyreek to me did have that persona, like, man, like you're supposed to know who I am. Why are you
Right.
stopping me? You know I played for Miami. Come on,
Hmm.
look at my ride. Come on, dude, just hurry up. Why you stop me for a
Yeah.
ticket? That's the way I perceive the way his body language and
Hmm.
what he was saying is he had an attitude that the cop was, how dare he stop him and give him a
Yeah.
ticket because I'm Tyreek. So I think that's arrogance. And what we talked about last week,
Ego.
ego.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of somebody living in their ego because
Hmm.
he had that ego that I'm Tyreek. You shouldn't even be stopping me, but now you're going to clown me and give me a ticket. So he was being an asshole with the cop. The cop got pissed off. Oh, okay. You want to play games? I know who you are. You made me lose $100 betting on your ass. So he took his ass and started letting it out. Now I'm just being silly with that, but that's my take on that. Is it could have been handled, and he said it. Somebody made him do it. Probably the public. The PE. What do they call
Hmm.
them when you get out and you address the media? The public relations told
Yeah.
Tyreek to say that. Because it got so blown out. Plus, the
Yeah.
footage was released. So now you have to go and be smart and be like, yeah, now I'm busted. They see how I acted the ass. So I got
Hmm.
to come back with my side and make it look like I was being respectful. So yeah, it could have been handled to me both sides better. But yeah, come on, bro. You know they want any opportunity. And
Hmm.
that he gave him a pass to be an asshole with. So
Um, so there's two things that you said that I kind of have pushback on one of them.
yeah.
The first one was with Stephen A. Now I
Uh-huh.
get it because I'm like that too. I look at things from both sides. But
Right.
I will say this: Stephen A. When it comes to anyone else, whether it's white, Hispanic, whatever, he never dog them out. He's always dogging out brothers or sisters. I don't know if it's
Uh-huh.
scripted like that, but
Yeah.
even on his own show, he does the same thing. The dude,
Uh-huh.
the promoter, Joe Rogan,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Dana White, he beat his wife or punched her or something like that, and there was allegations. One day, it was on the
Mm-hmm.
news. Nothing was said
Mm-hmm.
from none of them. So my thing is, why is it when a black athlete does something, it's not just Stephen A, it's everybody on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened when Dana White did what he did. But when Ray Rice had the same situation, it was
Right.
blown up. People was tearing him down, and Stephen A was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I do agree that he is kind of like a sellout because he don't keep it 100% across the board. If he was like that with everybody else, then I'd be okay. You're fair. But he doesn't
Yeah,
do that with anybody else. So from that sense, to me, he is a sellout because
yeah,
he only dog out his own. He don't dog out anybody else. And now the other thing, um, with
yeah,
Tyreek, it's crazy because you could tell he was kind of upset when he first, like you said, I think he was pissed off. He got pulled over, and
hmm,
he kind of like, I'm Tyreek Hill. Like you
right,
said, like you don't know who I am. Now, a lot
hmm,
of people were saying that those weren't even real cops. They was like traffic
yeah,
officers. They just give
yeah,
out
for the
tickets and
stadium,
direct traffic for the stadium.
yeah, hmm,
Now, this is the thing that I look at, and I had a conversation before with somebody. This is the only inch that I give police officers. I will say that working that type of job, you're dealing with all different types of people. And if you're in a certain area and you're dealing with disrespectful people, rude people, like love to call some people 3D, and you're dealing with these people, it weighs on you. So we all have that natural instinct of fight or flight. And if you're constantly dealing with knuckleheads and sometimes your life is on the line, you're always going to be in fight mode. Fight. Now, again, I'm not saying it's an excuse, but this basically how we are wired. And if you're a type person like I am, I'm a fighter, not a flighter. It's even more of a challenge to keep that, on the keep it covered and not allow that to take over. So by him tapping on the window and him responding the way he did, he was probably tired dealing with disrespect, whatever the case is. And he's like, what? I'm tired of this shit. Get your ass out. It was just the last straw. And the reason why I say that is, like I said before, I'm dealing with customer service. I'm doing customer service. And I have some highly disrespectful people. And I almost got fired the other day because I hung up on somebody. And the thing is, you try your best to be patient, be courteous, be
hmm,
professional, but you constantly keep getting these people that weighs on you, weighs on you, weighs on you.
right,
And then finally, that last person triggers you. So, again, I'm not saying it's an excuse to do that, but I just think a lot of times, us in the Black community, we don't sit back and think about that. If they're going through a whole day and they dealing with assholes, at some point, somebody's going to trigger you. Now, if you can't keep your emotions in check, then you shouldn't be doing that profession. That I agree. But the only thing I'm saying is we have to have a open mind when it comes to this stuff and think about it. Okay, he's a police officer. No telling who they've been dealing with. So in that instance, I think that Tyreek did ignite the situation. Now, as far as him pulling them out and doing all the other stuff that was excessive, that's when he went overboard.
hmm,
But only thing I'm saying is sometimes we have to sit back and think about, okay, the profession that they're in, they're
yeah,
dealing with certain types of people on a daily basis. So let me not provoke this Joker. Let me not be the trigger to
hmm,
whereas I'm the one that's paying for it. So that's how I see that. Um,
yeah,
and it was something else that I wanted to add to that. Oh, as
hmm,
far as with the feelings though that they're privileged and stuff like that. Again, we can't really blame them. We can, but we can't. We're the ones that's putting them out there on that pedestal. Yeah, they on social, on Sports Center and stuff like that. But we're the
hmm,
ones that's paying to go to see them. We're the ones acting
hmm,
crazy when they walking down the stadium and we're screaming, "I love you," and just acting wild. And we're the ones that's boosting their ego. So, and I will say this: I remember when we came back from Iraq and Afghanistan. It was in Dallas, and the whole airport was filled with people, and they had both sides roped off, and we'll come out the off the plane, and people were screaming, "Yes, woo!" and hugging us and
yeah,
shaking our hands and stuff. So it's an ego boost. It make you feel, oh, damn, I'm special, boy. You doing all this for me? So just think
Mhm.
about these jokers getting that on a daily basis. So in a
Yeah.
sense, we're boosting their ego. Just think about it. If they was to go to a game and yeah, you screaming for the team or whatever the case is, but as soon as it's over and you see them, you just do a head nod. And they're not getting all the screaming and crazy, sign my jersey and all that stuff falling out and, just doing above and beyond. Would they still have that same mindset as far as
Right.
I'm an athlete, I'm a celebrity, I deserve to be treated a certain type of way because I make X a million amount of dollars.
Mhm. Well, a perfect example of that is when COVID hit, when they had to play in the empty stadium. Remember? And they were saying how it felt so strange not having fans scream for them. So yeah, I agree with that, but I think for me, I have mixed emotions. I do believe that yeah, we feed them, we build their ego, we put them on that pedestal. But then to me, on the other side, I say, and I always say this, with great power comes great responsibility. Now, what I mean by power, I mean they have the power to, again, I always say this, the influence. And one thing I remember it just being a manager and a supervisor, and I remember my boss telling me this. Now, this may not sound like it's correlating to what we talk about, but I'm just talking about when you have that status and your ego. And I remember my boss telling me that, hey man, what you do because you're a boss. Everybody's looking at you. You're always on blast. You're always going to be held to a certain standard, whether you like it or not. And I used to say, man,
Mhm.
I'm just a manager. I don't care if they see me do one thing or another. I'm just like them, but I'm just got a title to have that manager. He said, still though, you still have that representation that you have to kind of remember. So the point I'm making with athletes, movie stars, all of that, even though you don't want that because your people or your fan base is giving you that, you still in that limelight. So you got to conduct yourself accordingly. Now you can say that's not their fault, and you do something and they react to do something. That's their fault for doing it. But again, power influence. I'm just a firm believer in that. So I feel like even though you are a high profile athlete, yeah,
Mhm.
we building you up, but that don't mean you should walk around with that attitude because of that. Oh, I'm gonna do what I want. Dare you give me a ticket because that's your fault for appreciating me. That's y'all shouldn't be doing that. And I want to have that ego. So that's where I don't agree with that. And I'm gonna say this when I mean responsibility. It's a guy that works with me that's a boxer, a Golden Glove. He's going to teach me how to box and all that. And he was telling me, and I said, "Damn man, I know you got that swag. You can beat anybody ass anytime you want." He laughed. He said, "No man, actually, it sucks because if I beat somebody up, I go to jail because I'm deemed lethal weapon." So he said, "I have to humble myself more." Because of that, because I'm looked at, he said, dudes always trying to egg me on and get me to attack them so they could go and sue him because they know his status. So the point I'm making with this is that's how I feel with celebrities and all that. You know your status, so you still should have in the back of your mind certain things I can't do because it's
Mhm.
going to be some kind of influence on somebody or affect somebody. So I got to be mindful of that. Now I'm not saying you got to just act like you can't be some type of way. I'm just saying you got to be a little responsible, even though we build you up, but you still have that responsibility, regardless if you feel like it's the fans' fault for that or not. I just feel like it's both. In other words, what I'm saying, I agree with we build them up, but with that comes responsibility. You got to be a little bit understanding that. Just don't walk around acting like you are untouchable. And that's where I see that some of these, not all of them, but some of them just got
Okay.
that mentality. You know what I mean? So
All right. So I'm gonna kind of redirect it from the whole Tyreek thing. I just wanted to start off with that. But
okay.
I'm gonna answer KJ's question. She said, what's the use of being a celebrity if there is no benefit to being one? So for me, the benefit of being a celebrity is the money you're getting paid. Period. Because you're getting paid, some of them are getting paid millions of dollars to do, in my opinion, to do stuff that's I'm gonna say it's not hard, but to do things that um that's not really benefiting people in general. on a daily basis. So them making a movie, I know some people would do, affect them a certain type of way. Musicians, maybe, because music does affect people, rather positive or negative. Um, so from that aspect, I can see that. But as far as giving them preferential treatment because of that, they're getting paid to do that. So if they weren't getting paid to do it, if they were volunteering to do it, then for me personally, I can't speak for anybody else, then I can possibly give them that praise because it's like, wow, you're sacrificing your time and your energy to entertain me and you're not getting paid for it. This is solely volunteer. Those are the type of people that I respect. If you're getting paid for something, no, I'm not giving you no special treatment just because you're a movie star and you're an athlete. That to me, it just doesn't make sense. I can't comprehend it. I've been trying to do it this whole week and it just doesn't make sense to me. Because again, and that was a perfect example that you gave when we had COVID and they was playing in empty stadiums. So and a lot of them said that felt funny and they respected fans more because they understood that look, the only reason why we're truly here is because of the fans. Now just think about it. If they weren't being televised and they weren't getting paid the amount of money they was getting paid, would they still play the sport? That's when I question, okay, are you doing it really out of love or you're doing it out of because of the benefits that come with it, which is the money, which is the fame and the preferential treatment. You get to ride or fly first class, or you get private jets, you get special police escort and stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense to me. I get it because they are famous, so they have to be protected because people will probably mob them and go crazy. But it's just for me, I don't think they deserve any special treatment. That's just me. So, Mark, I'm curious how you answer that question that she had.
Well, I guess I'm gonna be again on this one. I'm gonna lean left and right. I'm gonna be both. I feel like well, it should be certain things that you should have benefits. Like if you're an athlete, yeah, you maybe get a discount on one of the stores. If you bring a championship to the city and you in the public, like you're giving back. Like some that like Magic and all them, they building uh, schools in the community. If you giving back, then I feel like yeah, it's okay to give them a pass on. Like I said, you go get a free meal or something, like silly stuff. That's not important. It is, but what I mean is not something that's making a detrimental difference to society. Now, if you get stopped by the cops, no, that you should not get no special treatment for that. Anything that when it comes to you are a law-abiding citizen, like you said, you get paid. So you get treated just like the rest of us. That I feel like no, you shouldn't get no pass. Now, if you're an officer, this is just how I firmly feel. I'm very respectful, you guys, the military. So military, in my opinion, should get more beneficial respect than these athletes do. That's just my own personal opinion. So that's why I feel like that's what the disconnect is how this country is, how we glorify athletes, movie stars in the military, regardless if you served in a war or not, you still provide a service for this country. You should be the one getting deemed that high pass for a ticket or something in the store. I know they do the Veteran Day and they do the military discounts. I'm not saying they don't acknowledge y'all, but I just feel like it could be as much as they do with athletes. It should be the same, is what I'm trying to say. Because I know they do stuff for the military. But to get back on track, other than that, no, they shouldn't get any extra glorified privileges just because they doing something like you said. They get paid for it. Now they do like we used to do, play basketball every day in the street for free. That's the passion of love for something.
Yeah.
If you could do that, that shows that you're doing it because you love it. And I'll hear athletes mainly always say, "I do this game and I love it." And I couldn't do anything without it. But then I see them getting $80 million, this ridiculous
Yeah.
contract that Prescott just got, and
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there like, wow, like this dude haven't even done nothing but won games in the regular season,
Hmm.
and they got banners and they just go crazy. This is San Antonio, mind you. This is not
Yeah.
Dallas, it's San Antonio, and they got a day for Dak Prescott, and they just doing way too much for a football player that hasn't really done anything but create stats. So I feel like
Mhm.
the privilege should get maybe a good meal or something for free if you walk in the store or something like that. But that's for me, as far as it goes. Getting a past legal stuff, no, because you just like us. And they even say it. They always say we just like y'all. We just play sport. So then, no, you don't get no special treatment.
So my question is, so who do you think it is that's giving them this treatment? I mean, I know we know who's doing it, but
Right. Well,
where do you
that's
think
what I'm
it originated from? Like, how did that come about?
saying. It's the
Because if you think
fans.
about it, just real quick, like the WNBA, they never had chartered flights until this year.
Right.
So they were saying that they was actually flying first class and coach just like a regular person.
Yeah, like regular. Yeah.
So that's like my question is, who was it? How did this even come about? Why did somebody feel as though, okay, because this person is a celebrity or athlete, we should give them better treatment than regular people or just the average person? And it's not every person in entertainment. It's the more high profile ones, the ones that, making those big contracts, the real known actors and basketball players and football
Mm-hmm.
players. And I don't know if you remember this. I think I was with you, but when we was in LA and was at the swap meet,
Mm-hmm.
and that actor, I can't remember his name, but he played his son,
Oh, yeah. That's
and he
right.
was
I
walking with
forgot his
his
name
son.
too. Yeah.
I just thought it was cool. I said, "Hey, man, you're so and so." I got the picture with him, and
Right.
that was it. I wasn't like salivating, drooling over nothing like that. And I didn't go overboard. Just, hey, man, can I get an autograph or whatever and take a picture?
Yeah.
But the dude was walking amongst the people and no one recognized him. To me, that's how it should be. So why do we feel as though we have to treat these people like this? And if anybody's listening, you can answer that. Why do we feel as though we have to? And I know Kim was asking me, what's the benefit from it? And it's just like you said, the military, doctors, teachers. So
Yeah.
they're doing more than anybody else. So why aren't they getting praised? And when they come out from work and it's people, you taught my
Right.
son, got straight A's, he's
Mm-hmm.
going to college, whatever the case is. Someone,
Yeah.
we both had multiple surgeries, you
Right.
know. So to me, it's just so backwards and it doesn't make sense to me. I'm just trying to figure out why. If somebody could just answer that question for me, why?
Yeah.
I would love to hear the answer.
I don't know if I have an exact answer, but I'm gonna be real about honest about this. If I saw Angela Bassett, I'm probably gonna act a fool. But it's just I think when you see certain people that you follow them, you just build that 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 passion for them. If they affect you, certain people, certain stars, movie, I think more musicians will affect people because certain songs might
Yeah.
identify with that person and it
Mm-hmm.
might get them through a tough time. So that I could say music will probably be the only
Yeah.
one musicians where it will help people because it helps people through hard times, good, and get to good times, whatever. So I think a musician would be a little bit different than an athlete, but
Mm-hmm.
even athletes, if it's somebody that you follow and you know their story, you become a fan of theirs, and that's where you kind of glorify them because you kind of idol them and you just feel for them. So that comes a privilege. Like, oh, I want to do this for you because you helped me in so many ways you wouldn't even know, and you just a regular person, but what you did helped me so much. So I feel like maybe that could be one reason why we glorify and wind up getting to the point where we give them those special privileges because of that. And it's a movie that I was thinking about with Wesley Snipes, and it was called The Fame, where he was a
Yeah.
baseball player. Robert De Niro was so passionate with him, and so
Yeah.
I think that's partly why we give him those special privileges because again we build some kind of relationship through with them just through watching them and following them and following their career. And like I said, certain athletes that do come to the community and give back, they develop some kind of love for him. Because what's the name? Will Smith, there's a lot going on with him, how people feel about him. But they say he does this, and I didn't know he did it. That he, every time he does a movie, he goes into a movie theater and
Yeah.
watches it with and he did it when they did Bad Boys. And
Hmm.
it wasn't no movie cameras out there. No, this is just somebody recording. And so happened to catch him coming out and saw him, and then they realized that he was in the movie there. So certain stars like that, I would say that's why they get special privileges because they kind of conduct themselves like I ain't no different. I go to the movies with you guys just to see and get that feedback on how y'all are. So I know that didn't answer the question, but I just feel like that could be one of the reasons is why we give them passes and special privileges is because we have that bond with them and we don't even know them. But like I said, I have my favorite, movie star and musician. Like I said, Angela Bassett, one of my favorite all time. So if I saw her, I would probably act. I ain't gonna be acting all crazy, but I would probably be like, "Hey, come in here." If I was owning the store or something, give her free shit, knowing she don't need it, but just because we're following her and who she is, I would probably act a little,
Hmm.
a little different, but not over the top.
Well, see, yeah, that's different what you're talking about. You talk about just responding based off of whatever connection you have. But I'm talking about going to the point to where they getting privileges, special treatment. That's more or less what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Now I get it, like you said, the music that makes sense because it's got frequency, vibration, and all that, so it makes sense.
Mhm.
But I'm talking about all the special treatment
Yeah.
that they get. That's what I want to know why. I'm still trying to figure out. It just doesn't make sense to me because there's so many other professions um, that have more of a benefit. That
Yeah.
to me, those are the people that we should be really praising. All right, so Kim just commented, and I knew she was going to say this. She said, doctors and teachers get paid too. Yes, most of us, we all get paid. So the point, you kind of answered it for yourself. Yeah, they get paid, but that's my point. Why are they getting the special treatment? So you answer, that's what I want to know. Why? Because they do a movie, the song, the music thing, I get. Athletes because they play a sport. I don't get it. You can go to a local community football game. You can go to a local community basketball game. So why are these at? Because they getting paid. We got people, Mark, people on the court in New York. And this is a prime example. You got darn blasted people on Rucker, New York, that do way better dunks than they do in the NBA.
Mhm.
So why are these jokers getting that special treatment? So just answer that for me, Kim. KJ, please answer that for me. So you're bringing up good points, but why? What is the point? That's what I want to know. So that's what this topic is. Do they prefer preferential treatment? And if they
Mhm.
do, why? Since you brought it up, tell us why. All right. So moving on now. I will say this, and I do have some kind of a desire to have a privilege, like for when we fly, we get not first class, we get to go on the plane first. And I'm
Mhm.
always looking for that. And I kind of arrogant with it. I'm like, well, I deserve to get on this plane first. I'm going to get on the plane first. And I always go up to the line. And it's only supposed to be for active duty soldiers in uniform. But I'd be in civilian clothes and I still go up there, show my little ID.
Right.
So I get it. But at the same time, for me, it has to be a benefit from it. Just
Mhm.
making a movie and playing sports, I'm sorry, I don't see it. It just doesn't make sense to me. It has to be something that's going to benefit me and society in a whole. If they do that, then yeah, I'm with it 100%.
But I mean, I personally feel you said it yourself right there. I just feel like we as people here, well, pretty much around the world, but here more in the U.S., we glorify it, so we get it to put them on that level to where they ultimately just giving it without no reason. Like there is no actual reason, just because they who they are. We give them that, and we build them and build them and build them to where, yeah, when you see them somewhere, oh, they need to get this or go whatever it may be, because we keep building them up, and they again they in the limelight, they exposed all the time. So that's just us focus on them, paying attention to them, following them. So with that being said, it just makes it to where they just put them at the front of the line. Again, I'm not saying that's the reason. That's just the only realistic way I can see it, just from building them up. And like you said, when you're doing something, even though you're military, it makes more sense why you should have that privilege. You making a movie, yeah, you're making a movie, but because they make so many movies and they get to be so successful, you said it. They build their ego, so they feel like, hey, I'm putting these movies out to for you guys to enjoy, and of course, it wouldn't be nothing without you guys to watch it. I won't be having this opportunity, but they still, we build them up. And then the line, end of the day, that's the only way I'm going to put that. It's just we put them there by giving them all of that fame. That's literally the only way I can personally see it. Is that right? Does that make sense? No, but it's just the way that, to me, viewing it, that's why they get that special privileges based off of how we treat them. And
All right.
that's silly, but we do it, so that's why they accept it and run with it.
All right. So I'm gonna bring up another thing that just happened. The whole thing with Shannon Sharp. Somebody was like, that was his own personal time. I think Snoop said that. He was like, man, you should be happy. I mean, you shouldn't have to apologize to nobody. You was on your own personal time. You're single. You should be able to do what you want to do. But again, because he's a celebrity, he got preferential treatment. Had that been somebody else at a regular job or whatever, they would have been fired because it's detrimental conduct that can affect the image of the corporation because you represent who you work for. So because he's Shannon Sharp and he's making X amount of money that nothing happens to him, he gets to walk away from it, but then someone else does it and they either get banned, get fired, or whatever the case is. So to me, I think it sends a bad message to children because they sit back and they look at this and like, well, hell, that's all I got to do to be an athlete, to be an entertainer, to be an actress or actor, and I can feel as though I'm above the law, I'm above the rules and regulations. And I believe that's why so many children, teenagers, are out of control, is because we're not putting forth an example. And I believe I asked this before or said this before. What true example do our children have in every aspect, whether it's religion, law enforcement, military, sports, entertainment? There's no good examples as far as how we're supposed to conduct ourselves as human beings. So we're basically saying if you make X amount of money and you have a certain status, you can be above the law and you can get special privileges because of that. So it goes back to, like I was saying before, the separation thing. They always try to keep us separated. If they was actually looked at as the same as everybody else, because they aren't, we can't say on one hand you're the same, but on the other hand you're not the same because you're getting paid X amount of money. So we have to treat you different because you make so much more money than the average person. And all they're doing is playing a sport and acting or singing. So for me, that's the biggest thing or the biggest red flag is that to me, we're sending a wrong message to young people, basically saying there is a line. There are certain type of people that deserve that have more than what you have because of who they are, how much they make, and what they do. To me, that's the biggest disservice.
Yeah, I'm going to be repeating myself right now. I'm sitting here thinking and listening as you were telling me or telling us, and then I'm thinking that I'm gonna hang my hat on what you started with, where you said, well, not started, but in the middle, towards the beginning, where you said we kind of glorify them and build them up, their ego, because that was a perfect point you just made right now. When I sit here and I look at athletes, movie stars, without us, they would not be famous. So we put them there, but I think, and it's not kind of making an excuse. I know this is kind of off the subject, but it's still kind of in the realms of it. I feel like with social media and where we at today on the capability of filming everything is the reason why I think it's a narrative that's being put out there all the time. Because why you said it on a few other episodes when you said the shooting with the lady for the cop. Why they keep posting stuff, putting it out there in media for us to react to it? If somebody didn't have that camera to put on Tyree getting arrested, we wouldn't even be talking about it. Now you could probably say what they got to do with him being special privileged. I think because the media is exploiting it, so it's making it a little different because they always again in the limelight. Because it was the other day I was driving to go to work, and it was a bunch of cop cars out there, and they had some dude on the ground in handcuffs, and everybody's out there with their phones recording it, and it was on the news. And then they was talking about how this dude was shooting at HEB. Somebody the other day had a shooting at the grocery store, and the dude was filming it through the whole process. And the cop was like, "Get back, get back, get away!" And the dude was still filming, and they filming him shooting the guy that for whatever reason he was resisting arrest, and he was shooting him. So I think even though that's not a movie star, but I just feel like the media, us recording everything, is making it even more. So when we record these athletes, these movie stars, we follow them everywhere they go. We're keeping them relevant. So that's why I keep coming back to the same thing as saying we are putting them there, giving them these special privileges because we always following them. We always want to know what's going on. So that's going to immediate to them feel like, well, hey, I should get special treatment because I'm doing this, and y'all always follow me around. So y'all want to know my business. So hell, I should get a pass. That may sound ridiculous to everybody, but when I sit here and think about it, if they didn't have everybody recording them, they would be just making a movie and don't be in it. And I give credit to certain movie stars you don't even hear about. You be like, what the hell happened to him? I thought he died because he don't put himself out there. So I just believe it's the media and the way we follow everything. Everything is put out there nowadays. That adds fuel to that. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but I think this day and era, thinking about when we was growing up, I don't think it was that bad with stars in the limelight. We didn't hear about them unless they made a movie. But because where we at with technology and all this crap, I think that just adds to it.
Okay, so I'm going to respond to two comments that KJ made. He said because they have talent and most people don't, that most people don't have. Acting, singing, athleticism. I can't say it. My lip is messed up. And she said, not everybody can do what they do. I agree to disagree. And the reason why I said it is most people do have athletic ability. Maybe not to the level that they have because a lot of them jokers are 6 feet and over, so they can do a lot more. So you're basically saying because they have certain gifts and talents that they deserve to be treated better than you do or with more respect because of, again, a game and acting and singing. That's crazy to me. My brain just can't compute that because I don't see anybody as separate or different. And that kind of goes back to, and I'm getting a little deep here, it goes back to the whole thing with how they treat blacks. or anybody else that's supposed to be considered a minority is because they feel as though they're second class and they don't have the same abilities that they do, so they deserve to be treated a certain type of way. And that's just crazy to me because no one, well, we are, but um, I don't just believe that we should be putting people based off of professions. Again, this is for me, professions that has no benefit, that's beneficial to society. Yeah, it might make a person individually, emotionally, they might feel good or whatever the case is. But if it's not benefiting society, and some may fight or push back and say, well, it is because it's helping the economy, whatever the case is. But I'm sorry, it's nothing that, unless the athlete or actor puts themselves out there to give back, like Mark stated earlier, then that's different. But every last one of them don't do that. So we can't pick out maybe a handful that actually does something that's beneficial. And just because of that, we have to give a blanket certain type of treatment for these professions. I just don't see that. And then something Mark said, not just because I'm ex-military, but we actually sacrifice a lot. We volunteer, we got paid for it, but still at the same time, we sacrifice a lot. And a lot of us are here and a lot of things are in place because of that. So to me, just out of respect, I would think the best way to pay honor is to say, you know what, because of that, these are the things we're going to put in place because you laid down the ultimate sacrifice that everybody had the opportunity to do, but they chose not to. So because you said, you know what, I'm still going to do it regardless, then these are the things we have in place. To me, that makes sense. But because you're playing basketball and you're acting and you're singing, no, I can't accept that. There's nothing, and I could be stubborn right here. There's nothing anybody could say objectively that to me should allow these people to have better treatment. And when I'm talking about treatment, I'm talking about, again, when it comes to someone breaking the law and they're doing stuff that's illegal, just because they're an athlete or a celebrity, they get off. All of them don't. Like Wesley Snipes, he got hit up. Mike Tyson. So there's a couple out there that actually do pay, um, you know, for what they did. But a lot of them, they don't. They get off easy. And it's only because of who they are and what they do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm kind of play devil's advocate. I know you adamant, like you said, no matter what nobody say. So I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just shedding light on a different way of looking at it, I guess. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here, I was thinking about that just now, and it was a client that I had that was a lawyer. He was a high price lawyer. I'm surprised I trained him because he is well known in the city. And I remember him telling me he got stopped and how he was pissed off because he got a ticket. And he was telling the office, don't you know who I am? I'm so-and-so lawyer and I can have your job taken from you. How dare you stop me? He was all pissed off, talking about how you gonna stop me. So I feel like movie stars, I'm not taking nothing away from athletes and all that. I feel like they definitely are divas, but I think anybody that has power with money kind of has that mentality where they feel they're above the law and they can do what the average person can't do because, like that lawyer, because he's a lawyer. Granted, he's giving back, but your ass still right driving fast in your car. So why do you get a pass because you're a high priced lawyer? So I feel like anybody that has power, that has a lot of money, has that same kind of attitude where, how you gonna dare tell me I can't do this, man? You know how much money I got? So I feel like anybody with power, again, kind of has that little mentality or attitude that I can do a little bit more because this is what I have and this is what you don't have. So you need to give me a pass because what I got, and I think they go off of their status. Again, movie stars, and I put them at the top, but I think lawyers, even police officers, even though they give back to the community, but sometimes they be a little arrogant too and feel like, oh, I can do so because I'm an officer of law. So how dare you? So I feel like you still got to live by the laws that you supposed to protect and enforce. So that doesn't negate you from it. So I just feel like anybody in power, especially that has more money, has that mentality. But yeah, they shouldn't get it. I'm not taking nothing away from what the topic is about athletes and anybody with movie star. Again, I feel like it's status, and these movie stars are using it to their advantage because we putting it out there, and they taking that status and they running with it. Not saying that is right, but that's just from my lens. That's how I see it. But yeah, I don't agree with it. I feel like they should be treated naturally, just like the rest of us. If you do something, a crime, your ass go to jail. I went to jail for damn having a suspended license. You know what I mean? So come
Yeah.
on, just because you a lawyer or a basketball player, you don't go no. Well, of course they probably paid a fine. But I'm just saying, like, if it came to that point, you still you did something wrong. You broke the law. So that's where I agree that they shouldn't get
Yeah.
no privileges.
All right. So we're gonna end it there. I believe it was a good topic again. I can talk about this for hours, but I'm just going to leave it at that. I just was curious as far as what other people's perspective is on that. Do they feel the same way I feel? And if like I said, if someone can answer that question for me. But so on that note, beautiful people, we thank you all for joining it. Excuse me. Thank you for joining in again. As Mark said earlier, like, subscribe, comment, share if you can. Continue to tune in and just give us feedback, and we'll try to keep putting out great content.
All right, guys, STS. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna say less. Keep following us and enjoy y'all's weekend. And we'll see y'all next week.
All right, until then, peace.
We out.